It begins with a scent. Sharp, earthy, unmistakable. Garlic has stirred kitchens and cultures for over 5,000 years. From ancient Egypt to modern supermarkets, this humble bulb has earned a place not only on our plates, but in our history, our medicine, and even our myths. But behind the bite of a single clove lies an invisible engine. A global network of farms, factories, and hands working in quiet rhythm. Every year, over 30 million tons of garlic are grown, pulled from the soil, and shaped into products that feed billions. Before we dive into the world of garlic farming, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss a journey behind the world's most fascinating foods and industries in stunning 4K quality. This is Top Discovery 4K, where everyday things are anything but ordinary. On modern farms, garlic is seeded by machines that split bulbs into cloves, carefully avoiding bruising. These cloves are then fed into precision planters that glide across fields, pressing each clove into fertile soil. But timing is everything. Plant too early, and frost will stunt the growth. Plant too late, and the roots won't take hold. So in the golden weeks of autumn, before the first frost, garlic goes underground, entering a long winter sleep. As snow falls and winds howl, garlic lies in silence. But beneath the surface, it is preparing. Each clove slowly pushes roots into the soil, building a foundation for the burst of life to come. In early spring, green shoots break through. Fields that once slept now breathe in waves of green, a signal that the growing season has begun. Farmers, meanwhile, become caretakers of a delicate ecosystem. They watch for soil pH drift, nitrogen depletion, invasive fungi, thrips that bore into young leaves. Irrigation systems hum like arteries, delivering life drop by drop. Drones and satellite data map growth patterns across vast acreages. It's a dance between nature and knowledge, between ancient practice and cutting-edge science. By midsummer, the garlic plant sends a signal. Its leaves begin to wither. To the untrained eye, it may look like illness. But to farmers, it is the moment they've been waiting for. Beneath the soil, each clove has become a bulb, layered in paper-thin skin, firm with flavor. Harvesting begins before the plant collapses entirely. Too soon, and the bulb is immature. Too late, and the cloves separate, weakening the structure. In small farms, harvest is done by hand, a sacred ritual of forks, dust, and sweat. But on industrial farms, garlic harvesters do the heavy lifting. Blades loosen the roots, conveyors lift the bulbs, and gentle brushes remove the clinging soil. The air fills with that unmistakable smell. Garlic, raw and pure, meeting daylight for the first time in months. Freshly harvested garlic isn't ready to eat, not yet. It must cure, a slow-drying process that toughens the outer skin and seals the bulb. In old barns and shaded sheds, garlic hangs in bundles like chandeliers of earth and sun. In modern operations, garlic is stacked in temperature-controlled curing rooms, where airflow and humidity are carefully balanced. This stage is about patience. A cured bulb will last for months. An uncured one? not just days. The transformation is subtle, invisible, yet it's here, in this quiet space, that garlic becomes shelf-stable, shippable, and worthy of the global stage. Once cured, garlic is trimmed and sorted. Machines snip roots and cut stalks, shaping each bulb into a neat market-ready package. But perfection isn't cosmetic, it's functional. Using optical sorters, garlic is scanned for rot or mildew, internal bruising, split cloves, size and weight consistency. What meets the standard moves forward. What doesn't? It isn't wasted. It becomes dehydrated garlic, animal feed, or compost. This step is where food meets industry, where biology bends to efficiency, where millions of pounds of bulbs are transformed into product lines, whole, peeled, minced, and powdered. The journey forks here. Some garlic stays whole, packed into mesh bags for grocery stores and farmers markets. But much of it is destined for transformation. Peeled garlic, steamed or air-popped from its skin, then sanitized and sealed for restaurants. Minced garlic, chopped by stainless steel blades and preserved in brine or citric acid. Garlic paste, pureed into smooth gold for sauces, dressings, and soups. Dehydrated garlic, sliced, dried, and ground into flakes, granules, and powder, the lifeblood of packaged food. Every variation answers a need: speed, flavor, shelf life, control. In food service where seconds matter, garlic must be ready on command. And so, it is engineered for convenience, without losing its soul. China produces more garlic than the rest of the world combined. Its Shandong province alone supplies over 80% of global exports. Yet garlic is also grown in the dry valleys of California, the river-fed plains of Argentina, the mountain farms of India, the Nile Delta of Egypt. Each region has its own terroir, the subtle fingerprint of soil and climate that gives garlic its local character. From these places, garlic is shipped in refrigerated containers, sealed sacks, or vacuum bags, crossing oceans and borders to reach your kitchen. Whether grown in Asia or America, its journey is invisible to most, yet vital to global flavor. For over 5 millennia, garlic has warded off disease, inspired legends, anchored cuisines. It was fed to pyramid builders in Egypt, prescribed by Greek physicians, feared by medieval vampires, but above all, it has fed families. Today, it's in your bread, your broth, your comfort food. A single clove holds more than flavor. It holds culture, chemistry, and connection. And now, every time you dice one open, you hold the end of a story that began in the dirt and spans the globe. Imagine this. A steaming bowl of rice sits in front of you. You lift the lid, and a soft floral aroma rises up, comforting, familiar, almost nostalgic. It's not just any rice. It's Thai jasmine rice, or, as it's known in its homeland, hom mali. But have you ever stopped to wonder how this grain, so delicate, so fragrant, makes its way from the muddy fields of Thailand to kitchens across the globe? This is the story of hom mali, a story that begins with rainfall and red soil, with generations of Thai farmers who know their land like they know the lines in their hands. It's a story of tradition meeting technology, of rice fields no bigger than a city yard, producing one of the most beloved foods in the world. And this isn't just about farming, it's about respect. For nature, for heritage, and for every grain harvested by hand. Over the next few minutes, we'll take you on a journey through Thailand's rice belt. We'll walk through the planting, the harvesting, the drying, the milling, and uncover how this humble grain has become a symbol of national pride. So next time you eat a spoonful of jasmine rice, remember, it carries more than flavor. It carries a story. To understand what makes hom mali rice so special, we need to go back, not just in space, but in time. Back to the northeastern region of Thailand, known as Isan. It's here, across the red clay soil and under the monsoon skies, that Hom Mali rice was born. The name Hom Mali means jasmine fragrance. But unlike the flower, the aroma of this rice isn't floral in a perfume-like way. It's subtle, earthy. Some describe it as a mix of pandan leaf, butter, and freshly steamed grains. And that scent, it's entirely natural, produced by a compound in the rice called 2-acetyl-1-pyrroline. No additives, no tricks, just nature. Hom Mali rice is a product of its environment, literally. The dry spells, followed by bursts of rain, the mineral-rich soil. The careful, patient timing of the farmers. Every condition plays a part in shaping the grain's character. But unlike other types of rice that are grown year-round, Hom Mali is seasonal. It's planted only once a year, during the early rainy season, and harvested months later in late autumn. That means every grain you eat comes from a single growing cycle. A single chance, no do-overs. It's also a protected variety. Thailand has strict quality controls to ensure what's sold as Hom Mali is the real deal, grown only in designated regions under approved practices. Some of the most prized jasmine rice comes from provinces like Surin, Roy Et, and Ubon Ratchathani. Here, growing rice isn't just a livelihood, it's a way of life. Families pass down land and techniques through generations. Children learn to walk in flooded rice fields before they can ride a bicycle. The rhythm of the harvest defines the calendar. Hom Mali is more than just food. It's the story of a region, of patience, of pride. And the story continues, right in the muddy fields of May and June. In Thailand, rice planting begins not with machines but with rhythm, the rhythm of rain. Each year, around May or June, when the first heavy showers of the monsoon season soak the land, it marks the beginning of the rice-growing calendar. Across the northeastern plains and central valleys, families prepare their fields with quiet anticipation. It's a scene that hasn't changed much in decades. The first step is creating seed beds, small, shallow plots where rice seeds are sown closely together. Over the next 3 to 4 weeks, these seeds will sprout into bright green seedlings, standing just a few inches tall. During this time, the main fields are prepared. In many places, water buffalo are still used to plow the soil, a tradition both practical and symbolic. In other regions, small motorized tractors take their place, churning up the mud to create the ideal planting environment. Once the seedlings are ready, the most labor-intensive part begins, transplanting. This is done by hand. Men, women, and even teenagers wade into flooded paddies, bent at the waist for hours, replanting the young rice shoots one by one. It's grueling work, but it's also meditative, done with care, precision, and a kind of grace that comes only with years of practice. Transplanting may seem slow, but it's essential. It gives each plant the space it needs to grow strong and healthy. And in small plots, manual planting remains more efficient than machines. In Thailand, most rice farms are small, often no larger than a few acres. That's because land is typically inherited and divided among siblings. Over generations, fields become smaller but more personal. Each patch of land tells a family story. Even the timing of planting carries meaning. Many farmers consult the lunar calendar, Buddhist rituals, or local wisdom to choose the most auspicious day to sow. Offerings are made to the rice goddess May Posop, guardian spirit of the fields. Because here, rice is more than food. It's sacred. As the seedlings settle into their new home, the hard part is just beginning. The plants will now face months of sun, rain, wind, pests, and the farmers who walk the fields every day, guiding them through it all. Once the young rice plants are in the ground, their journey has only just begun. Over the next 3 to 4 months, they will grow through intense heat, sudden storms, and long periods of standing water. It's a delicate time, and it's when the farmer's role becomes most crucial. Each rice plant is now rooted in a flooded paddy. This water isn't just for hydration, it helps control weeds, regulates temperature, and protects against pests. Maintaining just the right water level requires skill and constant vigilance. Too much water can suffocate the plants. Too little, and they wither. Thai farmers don't use satellite sensors or high-tech irrigation grids. They use their feet. They walk the paddies daily, watching the color of the leaves, feeling the firmness of the soil beneath the water, noting the direction of the wind. It's farming by instinct, passed down through generations, guided by experience, not spreadsheets. fertilization is done sparingly. Many farmers still rely on natural compost, rice straw, or buffalo manure to enrich the soil. In more modern operations, a light touch of chemical fertilizer may be applied, but only when absolutely necessary. The goal is balance, to work with nature, not against it. Pests like snails, leafhoppers, and rice stem borers pose constant threats. In the past, chemical pesticides were widely used, but today there's a growing shift toward organic and integrated farming. Farmers introduce ducks into the paddies to eat pests or plant herbs around the edges to repel insects. It's an old wisdom, making a quiet comeback. But threats don't only come from bugs or drought. A sudden typhoon, an unexpected dry spell. Even a single misstep in water management can ruin an entire season. That's why this period, from transplanting to ripening, is also one of the most anxious. Still, Thai farmers persist, not just with effort, but with faith. They make offerings to May Posop, the rice goddess, asking for protection. They build small shrines at the edges of the fields, with flowers, incense, and rice grains. Some families hold blessing ceremonies when the plants begin to flower, a sign that harvest is near. By early September, the green shoots have grown tall and strong. The leaves stretch outwards, swaying gently in the wind. Tiny panicles begin to form, the grain heads that will eventually feed millions. There's a quiet beauty in this stage. The paddies become a sea of green stretching to the horizon, reflecting the sky above. And beneath the surface, in ankle-deep water, life teems. Frogs, snails, dragonflies, all coexisting with the rice. Here, farming is not just a science. It's a relationship between people and land, between seasons and spirits, between patience and reward. Soon, the golden season will arrive, and with it, the harvest. By late October or early November, the green fields of Thailand have turned golden. The rice plants, once tender and upright, now droop under the weight of full-grain heads. It's a sign that the cycle is nearing its end and that the most anticipated moment has arrived: harvest. In many villages, harvest season feels like a festival. Families wake early, neighbors gather, sickles are sharpened, hats are tied, and the fields come alive with motion. Traditionally, harvesting is done by hand. Farmers wade through the waist-high plants with curved blades, cutting stalks in bundles, one rhythmic sweep at a time. It's slow, careful work, but it allows for greater control. Each bundle is inspected as it's cut, and only the ripest plants are chosen. The cut stalks are laid out in rows under the sun to dry. Sun drying is one of the oldest and still most common methods used in Thai farming. It gently lowers the moisture content of the grains, helping to preserve their aroma and texture. After a day or two in the sun, the next step begins: threshing, separating the grains from the stalks. In smaller farms, threshing is done by beating the bundles against a wooden frame or using a foot-powered thresher. In more modern areas, small machines are used to shake the grains loose. Either way, the goal is the same: to release the rice kernels from the panicles without damaging them. What remains is called paddy rice, rice that still wears its outer husk. It's not yet ready to eat, but it's finally in a form that can be stored, traded, and processed. At this point, the fields are quiet again. The golden sea becomes a stubble-covered plain, but in nearby yards, driveways, and even temple courtyards, blue tarps appear, covered with drying rice. It's a familiar sight across rural Thailand. Children helping rake the grains, elders checking the weather, everyone working together to protect the year's hard-earned crop from sudden rain or hungry birds. Every grain matters, because in Thailand, rice is more than a harvest. It's security, it's dignity. It's the measure of a season's success, and the foundation of the next. Once the rice is fully dried, it's bagged, labeled, and loaded onto trucks. From here, it heads to the rice mills, where another transformation begins. But for the farmer, the work is far from over. The next steps, selling, weighing, negotiating, carry their own challenges. And still, as one field is cleared, thoughts already turn to the next planting season. Because rice never sleeps. It's a cycle. And the harvest is only the halfway point. Once the harvest is complete and the grains have been sun-dried, it's time for the rice to leave the farm. Farmers load their freshly threshed paddy rice into bags, often burlap or plastic, and stack them onto trucks, tractors, or even small carts pulled by hand. These bags are heavy, sometimes weighing up to 50 kilograms each. But they represent value, hope, and the fruit of months of labor. The destination? Local rice mills. Scattered across Thailand's countryside, these mills range from small, family-run operations to large, semi-industrial facilities. They serve as the bridge between raw rice and the polished, aromatic jasmine rice we recognize on store shelves. When the rice arrives, the first step is always the same: weighing. Each truckload is driven onto a large industrial scale. But weight alone doesn't determine the value. What really matters is moisture. That's because paddy rice, even when sun-dried, can retain varying levels of humidity. Too much moisture, and the grains may spoil during storage or break apart during milling. Too little, and the grain might become brittle or lose aroma. To determine the exact moisture level, the mill takes a sample from the truck. Using a moisture meter, a small electronic device, the operator reads the percentage of water in the grain. Most mills aim for rice that has around 14 to 15% moisture. If the rice comes in above that, it can still be accepted, but at a lower price, or it may require additional drying. The sample is also checked for purity, to see if there are foreign materials like stones, husks, or dirt mixed in. Every gram of foreign matter reduces the price slightly, based on strict grading charts. Some mills display these rates openly. Moisture at 15%, full market price. Moisture at 18%, deduction applied. More than 10 grams of debris per kilogram, further deduction. It's a precise, standardized system, but it can feel tense for farmers. A few percentage points can mean the difference between profit and loss. Once pricing is agreed upon, the paddy rice is either stored temporarily or sent straight to the drying area. In modern mills, drying is done using large industrial dryers. But instead of electric heat, these machines are often fueled by rice husks, a brilliant example of circular sustainability. The husks, collected from previous milling processes, are burned in a chamber to generate hot air. That heat is then blown through the grains, gently reducing their moisture without damaging the structure of the rice. After burning, the leftover ash, soft, black, and rich in minerals, is saved and reused by farmers to improve their soil quality. Nothing is wasted. Every part of the rice serves a purpose. As the grains dry, conveyor belts move them to silos or storage bins. This is where they rest, waiting for the next stage, milling. But even in storage, there are challenges. Birds, rodents, humidity, all pose a threat to stored rice. And while some facilities use chemical pest control, many in Thailand follow Buddhist principles and seek non-lethal alternatives. Nets are strung, scare devices are installed, and in some places, birds are gently caught and released far from the site, only to return days later, often with friends. It's a strange kind of cycle, one of patience, loss, and respect. For now, the rice is safe, stable, and dry, but it's still not ready for your plate. The next step, the most technical, and perhaps the most magical, is milling. After drying and storage, the rice enters a new chapter in its journey, one where tradition meets technology. This is the milling process, where paddy rice is transformed into the fragrant white grains known and loved around the world. It all begins with dehusking, the first stage of milling. The paddy rice is poured into a powerful machine that gently rubs the grains together to remove their outer husks. These husks are light and dry, a natural protective shell. Once removed, what remains is brown rice. Rice with the bran layer still intact. Some people stop here. Brown jasmine rice is nutritious and wholesome, with a nutty flavor and slightly chewy texture. But for most markets, especially for export, the rice goes one step further. That step is called polishing. In this stage, the brown rice moves through a series of smooth rollers or abrasive surfaces that carefully remove the bran layer. The goal is to reach the pure white core of the grain without cracking or damaging it. It's a delicate process. Too much pressure and the rice will break. Too little and it remains dull or uneven. The result? The signature look of jasmine rice. Long, slender grains with a pearly white color and soft sheen. But the work doesn't stop there. The polished rice is then sifted and graded. Machines separate whole grains from broken ones. Full-length grains are more valuable, especially in international markets. Broken rice, on the other hand, has its own uses for making porridge, rice flour, noodles, or even pet food. Nothing goes to waste. Next comes the color sorter, a surprisingly advanced piece of equipment. Each grain passes in front of high-speed cameras. If a grain is discolored, perhaps due to weather damage, pests, or natural variation, a burst of air removes it instantly. It happens so fast, you'd miss it if you blinked. But this step ensures that the final product is uniform in appearance, clean, and ready for packaging. Some mills also offer water polishing, a final touch that gives the rice a glossy finish. This step isn't just for beauty. It helps lock in aroma and extend shelf life, especially important for long-distance export. At this point, the rice has come a long way. From seed to stalk, from paddy to pearl. But to ensure quality, samples are still taken manually. Trained eyes inspect the grain. If it doesn't meet standards, it's sent back for reprocessing or downgraded for local sale. Meanwhile, the byproducts of milling, like husks and rice bran, are collected and sold. Rice bran is used for animal feed or oil extraction. Husks become biofuel. Even broken rice finds new life in kitchens and factories. Nothing is wasted. Every output has a purpose. And now finally, the rice is ready. Clean, fragrant, uniform, the very definition of home mali. From here, it moves to the final stage, packaging and export. But even that is done with care, because jasmine rice isn't just a product. It's a symbol of Thailand's heritage, craftsmanship, and connection to the land. With the rice now polished and perfected, it's time for the final checks. Before it's packed, jasmine rice undergoes one last quality inspection. Trained workers and machines verify that the grain meets all export standards, from shape and color to moisture and aroma. Each batch is graded and labeled, with premium lots reserved for international buyers. Then comes packaging. Depending on the market, rice may be packed in vacuum-sealed plastic, woven sacks, or laminated export bags. Sizes range from small 1-kilogram pouches to 25-kilogram bags for bulk shipping. Great care is taken to preserve freshness. Some packaging includes oxygen absorbers or is flushed with nitrogen to prevent oxidation and insect damage. On each bag is more than just a label. There's a promise of quality, origin, and heritage. Thailand exports millions of tons of jasmine rice every year. It's one of the country's most important agricultural exports, both economically and culturally. Top destinations include the United States, China, Singapore, the Middle East, and parts of Europe. At the port, rice is loaded into containers and shipped across oceans. Inside those containers, not just food, but the work of families, fields, and faith. Exporters follow strict international standards. Certification, traceability, and food safety are non-negotiable. Thai home mali rice even carries its own geographical indication, a global stamp of authenticity. This global reach has made jasmine rice more than a Thai staple. It's become a global favorite, known for its delicate fragrance and soft, fluffy texture. In Thailand, rice is more than a crop. It's life. It's at the center of every meal, every festival, every blessing. It feeds not just bodies, but identities. Home mali rice embodies this connection. Each grain carries with it the wisdom of generations, the rhythm of the seasons, and the care of countless hands. From muddy fields to your dinner plate, its journey is quiet but extraordinary. So the next time you taste Thai jasmine rice, pause for a moment. Smell its gentle aroma, feel its texture, and remember the story of land, labor, and love behind every bite.